Today, I am much more aware of what deep-seated emotional processing is, which begins during our childhood, and if left neglected, can lead to deeper emotional wounds and repression stacking on year after year, affecting our daily experience subconsciously. Yet, while we don't always have immediate access to the deep corners of our subconscious mind, we can instead turn to our own tools and begin to cope with all emotions in a healthier manner. Once we become adults, we must take full responsibility for ourselves. We can no longer blame our families or households for our shortcomings. When we look around, most adults seem to have it together, and I'm sure some people really do. Or it seems like they do because they've somehow acquired the tools and necessities needed to live a quality of life. Deep down emotionally, however, we all remain children. Some might disagree, saying that because our frontal lobe is fully developed, we tend to make the most logical moral choices when it comes to our daily actions. Yet, this is untrue. You see, emotions differ from logic, and our brain is not divided into a left logical side and a right creative side. They take place on both hemispheres. In evolutionary terms, emotions surpass logical thinking by over 147 million years. Our emotional brain, otherwise known as the limbic system, contains some of the most special pieces of our brain, including the pituitary gland, hypothalamus, amygdala, hippocampus, all of which communicate directly to our organs, instructing them on how they should behave. The quote-unquote logical brain is only around 2 to 3 million years, which makes the limbic system almost 75 times as mature. Which is why, when we are hit with a strong enough wave of emotion, it's almost impossible to think logically about any situation. Think of anger, fear, sadness, disgust, surprise, and even happiness. Emotions are in the most natural way more primitive, and because of this, we make most of our life decisions based on them. According to Harvard Business School professor Gerald Zaltzman, 95% of our buying decisions are subconscious and emotional. Everyone experiences emotions and is guided by them whether we accept it or not. It's the core of the most physically evolved brain we know to exist, processing roughly 100 trillion calculations per second. To think that emotions and logic have been pitted against each other and even worse, been assigned predominant gender roles is baffling. What's even more alarming is that because the word emotion and emotional have negative connotations of being weak, fragile, overdramatic, etc., it's caused many of us to feel out of control whenever we experience emotions that we think we're not logically supposed to be experiencing, which then leads to some of us feeling that we need to suppress what we're feeling instead of facing them and using healthy coping mechanisms. It's interesting what leads every individual to cope differently. Some people walk while others smoke, drink, eat, go online, shop, game, golf, or laugh. Healthy coping mechanisms. Taking a walk in nature is not only one I personally benefit from a lot. I sometimes even take several walks during the day, and it always brings me so much joy and gets me out of my head and allows me to see the world around me in action. Breathing exercises and counting. Conscious breathing is extremely powerful at relaxing both the mind and body, and is the fastest way to start feeling more energized and aware. The method I use is inhaling for a count of 10, holding for a count of 5, and exhaling on a count of 10 again. Before you know it, you will feel more empowered and in control of your decisions. Guided meditations and silent sitting. Doing a guided meditation to overcome negative thoughts and anxieties can really help us when we're stuck in a rut and don't know how to help ourselves. During the meditation, you're guided into rewriting the negative self-talk and worries and are instructed in letting them go mentally and physically. journaling. Over the years, I've acquired so many journals, and to this day, I always carry one with me wherever I go. If I ever don't have access to my physical journal, I write a note on my phone and voice whatever thoughts, feelings, and emotions are coming up for me. Yoga and stretching. More recently, I've been starting out my days with gentle yoga, and as a result, I notice that the rest of my day, I am much more calm and feel like I reset my mind and body after each session of conscious movement. It's giving our body the love and attention it really deserves, and in that, releasing any emotional tension residing in our muscles. Aerobic exercise and resistance training. Breaking a sweat and engaging the entire body through an intense workout requires energy and is an all-consuming experience, which makes it an excellent release of energy and connects us to our body's capabilities and limits. We are confronted head-on with emotions such as resistance, pain, discomfort, and endurance, not just physically, but emotionally, which makes it a great way to process and release emotions. Shaking the body. Shaking the body is one of the most primitive forms of exercise and emotional processing. Many animals shake their bodies after stressful events and encounters. It's also great for us since it rapidly engages our entire body in a bouncing motion that inevitably releases tension in the upper back, shoulders, neck, waist, and hips. Practicing mantras. Whenever I find myself distracted and have wandering thoughts take me away from the present moment, I begin to repeat a phrase or mantra over and over again. Recording a voice memo. Whenever I really need to voice my feelings but don't want to be judged or share with anyone else, I go on a walk or find somewhere quiet, put my headphones in, and pretend I'm on a call with a therapist. I begin to share my deepest thoughts and feelings, and once I hear myself speak, my situation seems much more manageable and less overwhelming. Calling a close friend. This is pure medicine and can be one of the most needed healthy coping mechanisms I practice, because most of the time when we share with a friend, we find that we are not so alone in our situation. More importantly, the feeling of compassion and feeling understood is exactly what we need during heavy emotional periods. Reading an uplifting book. Reading someone else's story on what you're going through, or just in general, feeding your mind with a positive word of encouragement can go very far. If you struggle with depression, substance abuse, or really anything, I would say finding a book on the story of someone who has overcame it is an excellent way to heal really deep-seated emotional wounds in a specific area in life. Hugging someone you love. This is scientifically proven to help regulate hormones and release neurochemicals including oxytocin, which allows for bonding, slowing down our heart rate, and reducing stress and anxiety, while also releasing endorphins, leading to instant feelings of pleasure and ease. Practicing hygiene and self-care. Sometimes when we don't feel good about ourselves, we tend to punish or neglect ourselves through hygiene practices. Doing things like really looking after our teeth, skin, nails, hair, and presentation can immediately make us feel good and allow us to face whatever we are encountering with more grace and confidence. Taking your time to prepare or cook a meal. Again, taking our time to show ourselves love and attention is by taking the time to prepare a beautiful meal for yourself or others. This allows us to engage our attention and work with our hands, while also giving us the satisfaction of starting something, finishing it, and finally enjoying the hard work's result. Playing an instrument or listening to uplifting music. Music can be medicine, depending on the feelings and messages that are conveyed through it. Whenever I'm feeling like I need some extra energy, or I'm just feeling stressed or down, I make it my intention to pick up the most healing, beautiful music I can find, and try to avoid listening to old playlists that might bring up feelings of sadness or melancholy. In this case, I do best by listening to new music that I've never been exposed to, and this automatically allows for my engagement in the present moment. I recognize that some of us have varying degrees of emotional wounds and coping mechanisms. However, what we all do have is emotions, and we must handle them with care if we want to live long, healthy lives. The key is to find activities that you enjoy and allow you to release and let go, cultivating a stronger relationship to yourself, your environment, and others.